Hello and welcome back to Content and Conversations Live. I'm your host, Ryan Dowdy, and I want to have a really fun conversation about being yourself in your marketing. So, one of the things that I am consistently talking about in my marketing, in how I show up, is that you are the superpower, right? Literally, you are the thing that drives your marketing. And I know that that is completely opposite of what we're taught, right? We're taught that it's the algorithm, it's the platform, it's the audience. But the truth of the matter is, you are the thing that drives your marketing. You are the secret sauce. You are the superpower. You are the reason why somebody chooses one company over another. You are the reason why somebody, pays a premium or not. You are the reason why somebody wants to buy or not, right? Like, it is all driven by us. And to me, that is such an empowering thing. But sometimes that can be really hard for us to be like, well, what does it mean to be myself in my marketing, right? Like, that's not super helpful advice. Can you give me some more tactical and strategic things to focus on? So I have 4 ways to be more of you in your marketing as a way to really lean into who you are and show up really powerfully. And even if you are running a business or you have a desire to not be a personal brand, because that is something that I run into on occasion where people are like, but I don't want to be a personal brand. Well, the truth of the matter is, the way today's ecosystem is right now, in this point in time, in October of 2023, we live in a personal brand world, especially if you are an online entrepreneur working with other online entrepreneurs. Is it 100% mandatory? No. But is it significantly easier to do business, to grow a business, to be more powerful in business when you have a personal brand? Yes. Right. That is the reason why Progressive Insurance created Flow, right? And Geico created the little lizard guy, right? Gecko. Because we do business with people, we really connect with those things. And so, in order to connect with a brand, it becomes infinitely easier for people to connect with like an actual person or an actual thing or something they feel like they can hold on to and touch and have a relationship with, right? So that is why I am so powerful about infusing yourself into your marketing, infusing yourself into how you show up, and really being all of you in a powerful way, because the people who are attracted to all of you are very likely going to be the best fit clients, right? When we are attracting people who are not the best fit clients for our stuff, which I hear this a lot. I keep winding up on calls with people who aren't the right fit. I keep winding up on people who um don't have any money, or I keep winding up. The right fit is the biggest one that I hear, right? Like, I keep winding up in conversation with people who aren't the right fit. And typically that means to me that we are marketing in a way that is out of alignment with who we are, or we're saying things that are out of alignment because otherwise we wouldn't be attracting the wrong people. I'm going to say that for you again. If you are showing up powerfully and you are showing up in alignment, you cannot attract the wrong people. You are only attracting the wrong people. And I'm using air quotes for my podcast friends who can't watch me, who don't see me doing this live. The only way we attract the wrong people is when we show up out of alignment. So we have to be aligned with who we are in order to market to the people that we want to call in, right? So let's talk about what that looks like. The first thing that we have to do to be more of ourselves in our marketing is we have to be willing to take a stand, right? We live in a day and age, a time, if you will, where polarity wins, right? Take a stand. What do you, your brand, your business, what do you stand for in a powerful way that people can get in line with or not, right? This is really, really uncomfortable for a lot of people who they're like, oh shit, I don't want to take a stand. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to piss people off. But the truth of the matter is, the more that you lean in, the more of the stand that you're willing to take, and the more strong that you stand in that stance, the more people that you are going to attract who share that same stance with you, right? So I posted on social media earlier this week with somebody who I was talking to. And she was like, my problem with my marketing is I keep trying to convert people, right? Like, I'm marketing to them in a way that I want them to come to my side, right? And I was like, you've got to stop doing that. Like, preach to the converted, preach to the people who already believe or have some shared values. It's going to be so much easier to convert that person into a paying client than to take somebody who doesn't believe what you believe and make them believe it, right? Not that we don't do that, right? Long term, that is a long-term marketing strategy, but I don't know about you. I like to make money every day. And the best way to make money every day is to market to people to where they are right now. So taking a stand for what you believe in is really going to make sure that you attract other people who believe that same thing. If you refuse to take a stand, you are going to get people with wishy-washy beliefs, right? So for me, one of the things that I very strongly stand for is that we have to build community around our businesses, right? Like, we have to get out of the world and talk to people. Marketing in one way, here's my megaphone and I'm just going to market out you, is not it, right? Like, go talk to people. That is something I stand so strongly in. And there are people that do not believe that. They don't want to talk to people. They refuse to talk to people. All they want to do is market. All they want to do is email. And then just all they want to do is run ads. They don't want to talk to their people. They don't want personal relationships. They just want to market and they want people to buy. And that's fine. Those people exist. That's amazing. Are people doing that successfully? Sure. Right. But my stance is that we talk to people. We talk to people, we talk to people, we talk to people, right? The more people we talk to, the more money we make. The more relationships that we build, the stronger sense of community we have, the more healthy and thriving our businesses are. That is my stance. So I talk about that all the time. So I attract people who believe that, right? I don't want to try to convince somebody who doesn't actually want to talk to people to go talk to people. That's not a good use of my time and energy, right? I just need to market to people who already want to talk to people about how to do it in a way that actually makes you money, right? So my job is so much easier when I just have to tell somebody who already believes in the value of talking to people how to do it in a way that makes them more money. So I don't have to convince them why they should talk to the people. I just have to convince them or show them how to do it correctly. And that's how they will become clients of our agency. So for me, that is me taking a stand. This is my stance. I believe that we talk to people in our business, period, end of. People, most basic human need is to feel seen, heard, and understood. And you're not going to do that in one-way communication. That's my stance. I stand very strongly and firmly in it. Literally name my agency the Connection Agency because of it. We literally focus on human to human connection because of it. That is my stance. And it's very strong and it's very obvious. So for you, what is your stance? What is very obvious for you? What is going to call in the right people who share that belief, who want that, who are just like, yeah, just help me do it better. Just help me do it faster. Just help me do it in a way that's going to work for me, right? So say, for instance, you play in the health and wellness space. If you are somebody that believes very strongly in intermittent fasting, right? You don't want to go convince people why intermittent fasting is right for them, right? You want to talk to people who already are curious about intermittent fasting, but just aren't sure how it's going to work for them, aren't sure exactly how to execute it in their life, right? So that's what I mean by like taking a stance about something strong and powerful, putting your flag in the ground, standing for it. Okay. The second thing about that's going to help you be more of yourself is to share your values, right? Share your company's values or share your personal values. Mine kind of ebb and flow together. Obviously, my company values are a little more polished than my personal values. What's important to me, outside of work, as far as adventure and how I spend my time and how I spend my money, is a little bit different than maybe inside of the business. But generally speaking, shared values are very, very important because again, we do business with people that we know, like, and trust. And so when we have shared values, it becomes easier to know, like, and trust someone. When our values are very different and we don't understand the differences in those values, it becomes hard to create connection. It becomes hard to create a relationship. And if sales is relationships, we have to create relationships. So when we share our values, we attract people who share those values and then we can create relationships faster, right? But again, people are afraid to share their values because they don't want to polarize. So this does not mean, I just want to be very clear, this does not mean that you have to share your politics. This does not mean you have to share your religion. It doesn't mean you have to share any of those things if that's not important to you, right? If it is not important to you that the people that you do business with have the same politics as you, then you don't have to share your politics. If it's not important to you that the people that you do business with are of the same religious beliefs, then you don't have to do that, right? But if it is important to you, you want to make sure that that shows up in your marketing. It's part of who you are, right? So just really being strong in those values. And so if you haven't determined those values, that's the first thing you need to do. Like, what's really important to me? Like, one of my very strong values is integrity, right? I had a lot of experiences in my career of, aligning with people who don't have a lot of integrity. That's literally why I exited my business partnership, is I felt very out of integrity in that partnership of some of the things that was happening in my partner's business at the time, that I was like, I refuse to align with that. So I literally went through, a 6+ month business divorce that cost me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because it was out of alignment, because it was out of integrity. And I wasn't willing to be out of integrity. So integrity is something that is very, very important to me, right? Is being in alignment with who you are. And, the front has to match the back, right? You have to walk the walk and talk the talk. That is a value that I have. It's a very strong value that I have, right? Another value that I have that I share often is both and. I'm not either or. Do I build my business using organic marketing? Yes. Right. But am I anti-ads? No. Right. So, that is an example of both and, right? I am a belief of selling one-to-one. And if you like conversions, events, and challenges and webinars and launches, you should run those too. So both and is a very strong value. I share that often because I want people who align in that, because I'm not going to tell you that there's one right way to grow a business and my way is the only way to grow a business and you have to follow my strategy. I want to attract people into my agency who are looking for a holistic, well-rounded solution, not a one and done solution. So I share that value open and honestly. So what values do you have, as either personally or as a company, that you want to make sure that the people that you work with align with? Then you want to make sure that you share those values, and any values that aren't important to you, don't share them. right? So again, there's a perfect example of both and. But when we share those values, that is us being ourselves. That's me sharing, hey, this is what is important to me. This is how I show up in the world. This is what I stand for. And again, I'm going to attract people that share that as well. Right. So the third way to be more of yourself in your marketing is to talk about your personal life too. And this is such a challenge. I probably mentioned this in almost every podcast or show that I've created here for you all. But being a person, right? I said this before when it was taking a stand, right? Like people do business with people. I tell the story all the time about, wearing Georgia in that launch just totally changed everything and how I attracted all these new moms who wanted to be moms and grow businesses, right? But the more of yourself that you are willing to show, I find the more vulnerable I am. Some of my most performing pieces of content that get the most likes, the most comments, the most DMs, the most outreach are the ones where I am extremely open and honest and vulnerable about what's going on in my life. And again, if that style doesn't match yours, that's okay. It's not required. But how can you show more of who you are as a person and not just who you are as a business? Again, it goes back to why do businesses have faces, right? Why do businesses have faces? Why do we talk about Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook? Why do we talk about Elon Musk and Twitter or X or whatever it is now, right? Because they have who they are, their values, their stands, and then who they are personally is taking a play, right? Like what these people do with their money and their resources outside of running their companies is determining whether or not people do business with them, right? But they're not hiding those things. So, really sharing the personal stuff where you can, where it feels appropriate, where it feels aligned is going to really help you attract, again, people who share that and share a little bit of you. And then the final thing that I will tell you about being yourself in your marketing is show up how you want to show up, right? So one of the things that I am really actively pulling apart right now is still, gosh, guys, I've been out of the corporate world. I quit my full-time job on the heels of Georgia's maternity leave. So Georgia was born in June of 2019. So this is 4.5 years ago at this point in the game, give or take, that I have been out of that world. And there are still days where I realize that like I'm still very married to that corporate identity of having, hair and makeup and being done and being on and working the hours of 8 to 5 and, all of these different things. And I'm pulling all of those apart as we speak. And it's just one example of showing up how you want to show up, right? For me, I like showing up with my makeup done and my hair done. I like it. It feels good. The better I feel, the more confident I am, the more powerful I show up. Will I on occasion form a video, or shoot a video after a workout or, on a weekend when I don't have any makeup on? Sure. Right. But for me, I like to show up, done up and put together. That's what works for me. Right. I have a colleague, a woman who, I love watching her business building journey. She is totally yoga pants, hair in a pony, very natural all of the time at the gym with her kids doing the things. And she shows up very naturally. And that works for her. Right. Because that appeals to her ideal client. I will tell you that is to me, I'm not interested in that, right? Like I'm more attracted to a more buttoned up and more polished, a more formal brand. That's what attracts me. So people who are more buttoned up, more polished, more formal are the types of brands that I'm attracted to. And again, you might be listening to this or watching this right now and think, oh no, I'm more attracted to brands that are more casual, more chill, more informal. That works best for me. But you see exactly what I'm saying here, right? I'm attracted to something specific and, not attracted to something else because that's what works for me. So when you are marketing and you're showing up how you want to show up, which with or without makeup or whatever, if you don't want to dance on TikTok or on Reels, don't, right? If you don't want to do the trends, don't, right? If you do like to do the trends and that is fun for you, don't let the snarky comments on social media stop you, right? Because there's plenty of them, you don't have to dance like you have to dance. I remember one time I read her piece of content and it was just so degrading about people who were dancing on TikTok and how terrible that was. What I really giggle at this is this woman's like all about inclusion and doing it your way, as long as your way aligns with her way, right? But anyway, not the point. The point is, if it feels good for you to show up and to dance and to have fun and to be silly and to run skits and to do that, then do it, right? If it doesn't, then don't. I prefer written content and free form content like this. This is what works best for me, right? I love to write, which is why, Facebook is our primary platform. We don't spend a lot of time on Instagram. It's just really not our jam, right? But I do it very intentionally. I do it because this is what works for me. This is how I can be the best version of myself. The written word has always been my jam. I told my mom I wanted to write a book when I was 9, right? So the written word has always been my jam. That works well for me. Also, free form video. I love to teach. I love to be up in front of the classroom and talking to people and interacting with people. So this style of content, whether you're listening to this on the podcast or watching this live or watching the replay, is what works best for me. I can kind of go rogue and I can go on tangents and I can tell stories and I can lean in a way that feels really good to me, right? So that is how I choose to show up. So you get to choose how you show up in order to what feels good to you, not what so-and-so said you had to. So my very first coaching program that I was in, my mentor at the time, her whole thing was we should all have, I have this piece of hair that is just in my face today, guys. Sorry. That, she always showed up in a way that she talked about, like, you have to do a live show every week. You have to do a live show every week. You have to do a live show every week. That was what she taught. I happen to like live video. It was a non-issue for me. But then I was talking to other people and I found out that they don't actually like live video. So they're out here doing a live show every week because so-and-so said they have to do a live show every week, but the live show isn't actually how they want to show up. They would prefer a podcast, or they would prefer written content, or they would prefer pre-recorded content because they don't like to be live in front of a camera, right? But show up how you want to show up. Don't show up how somebody else says that you have to, because again, energetically, you're not going to attract the people that you want to attract if you're not being the truest version of you. If you are bullshitting, if you are uncomfortable, then people can tell. And not uncomfortable as in like, I just have to get comfortable on camera. I've never done this before, but uncomfortable in that, like, I hate doing this and I'm only doing this because I have to. Now, there's a difference between those two energies, and people can read your energy. They can sense your energy, right? So if you are forcing written content or you're using garbage AI content, and guys, I'm not knocking AI. We just added AI as a service. I actually was going to have today's show be all about AI, but I'm going to include Valerie in that first. But because you're just like, well, I feel like I have to put written content out here, so I don't care that I don't have well-trained AI and that my content's not very good because I'm just putting it up here to put it up here. People can smell that shit a mile away. It's not you, right? Not that it's AI and not you. It's not you. You have to show up how you want to show up, how that feels good to you, because then you're going to attract that, right? So 4 ways, my friend, that you can be yourself in your marketing. 1, take a stand. What do you stand for? Do not be afraid, right? Good marketing attracts as much as it repels, right? Share your values. What are your company values? First, right? And if your personal values, if those are important, share them, right? If they're not important, leave them out. But if you want to make sure you attract a specific type of person, you want to make sure that that's in alignment. Don't be afraid to share your personal life. Be a real person, especially if you are heavily marketing on the internet. And then finally, show up in a way that feels good to you, that is in alignment with you, for the person you are, the person who wants to become. That is going to help you be more of you. And the more of you that you are, the more that you are going to attract right fit clients into your ecosystem. So thank you so much for being here, and we will see you all next week.